because you asked about Beulah.
We are not Bula.
Hello everybody, this is Lindsay in the community and welcome to another beautiful day in Sampson County.
You talk to me. Don't depart from here until... Of the bronze. And he did so. The sacrifice is put on a rock. What does a rock represent?
Best of our ability. The Bible says, as much as it is possible, live at peace with all men.
And the angel of the Lord put out the end of the staff that was in his hand, and he touched the meat and the unleavened bread, and a fire arose out of the rock.
This just in, folks. A Reverend Bula Kearney was arrested today for fraud and possible murder charges of his wife and child.
Dispatch to car 585. What is the security status?
Car 585 responding. All units are present. Suspect Bula Kearney now in custody.
10585. Proceed with caution.
The weapons are present.
Do you know the kidnapped victim Yeshua's whereabouts?
No other individuals are present. Suspect Kearney is alone.
10585. Proceed to station.
All units proceeding.
First thing we needed was to establish his connection to the death of his wife and child. So, Mr. Kearney, I hope you have a lot to tell me. Are you comfortable?
You know, these were actually unnecessary.
I'm afraid they are.
We're actually quite elated to be able to explain ourselves to such a grand audience, actually, for this to be possible. It feels like it's been a millennia. Perhaps 2 millennia.
Can you describe the events leading up to the crime?
Which crime? Your crimes? Or what you call crimes? There have been so many.
I'm talking about your wife and daughter, Mr. Kearney.
Oh, you mean Beulah's crimes. Beulah. This person you're looking at.
Yes, Mr. Kearney.
An individual such as Mr. Kearney, with his background, he's capable of doing and saying and believing anything.
Can you walk me through what happened on the day of the crime?
Well, if you want to talk about Beulah, then I guess we have to get that out of the way.
Due to the lack of any paperwork or history on Mr. Kearney's family, we have no information concerning his finances. As far as his paperwork is concerned, Bula Kearney's family doesn't even exist.
What, upbringing, family background, then? Something like that?
Something like that, yes.
Okay. All right. Let's channel Beulah.
Be my guest.
Huh? I'm Bula Kearney. Kind of a simple man. Well, I was the unfortunate offspring of a Mr. Walt Jr. and Sheila Kearney, who were the unfortunate offspring of a Walt Sr. Kearney and Samantha O'Hare. Never married. Why never married? Well, you see, that's the thing. When Walt Sr. Raped Samantha, well, he never expected anything to come from it. Seeing as how he caved in her head with a rock, after he was done with his love making. And unfortunate for Walt Sr., when he went to take care of the body of Samantha the next morning, well, doggone it, if there wasn't a little bit of life left in her, and come to, as it happens, sometime later, a couple of twin babies come to follow as well. Little bit of life left in her became a whole lot of two shitty lives to come later, So instead of finishing the job and just going ahead and bashing her head in, which he probably should have done, I guess Walt Sr. liked the idea of having a pet, one that couldn't talk back or, do anything at all to stop him, I guess, I guess that's what you'd call a control issue. Since he never could control what his father did to him, family issues and all, Walt took her to his well-secluded farmhouse, left to him by his own highly functioning drunkard wife-beating daddy. It kind of ran in the family, you understand? Unfortunately, Walt bashed in Samantha's head so bad that, she could barely say her name, much less raise children. Now, since it was a small town, and Walt Sr. was a well-respected and such a fine church-going man, as they all were back then, and nobody suspected him when she was reported missing, and he kept her hidden and fed and lying in her own filth until she gave birth to those 2 mutts. Well, those 2 mutts, Walt decided to name the boy after himself, of course, and the girl after his mother's middle name. It was Samantha Sheila O'Hare. So it was Walt Jr. and Sheila Kearney, brother and sister, known to me as Mommy and Daddy.
Born of an incestuous relationship between a brother and sister, leading to complex family dynamics and potential genetic predispositions to mental health issues. Raised in an environment where secrecy, shame, and taboo surrounding family history may have contributed to feelings of isolation and identity confusion.
Well, Grandpa, he started drinking enough to kill a horse, and I guess he was bored. So when he got tired of beating the shit out of Mom and Dad, he started making them, he kind of watched. He watched as they did whatever I guess you would call it. I don't know if it was actually making love when you got your own 2 kids doing whatever they're doing with each other. And
struggles with a sense of self and belonging due to the unique and stigmatized circumstances of their birth.
And after that brother and sister had done things for so long, this beautiful man before you is what was begat. And my mommy said goodbye to life as I burst out of her insides into this lovely world, and
likely experienced emotional trauma and psychological distress from the familial dynamics and potential societal judgment.
And Granddaddy, he disappeared, and Daddy, he raised me much like his daddy raised him, until I I decided to poison Daddy's liquor and run away with my newfound inheritance. See, those details are a bit sketchy, but it seems that, that the family squirreled away a lot of cash during the days of Prohibition, rot gut moonshine, imbibing, as well, which I'm sure helped the mental stability of the family tree.
So you experienced many traumatic events or challenges in your life that may have influenced your actions.
Yeah, I'm sure Bula had plenty of traumatic events and mental problems.
The lack of standard societal interactions, or any for that matter, as well as the alcohol abuse of his parents, mixed with the incestuous relationships, mixed with the maliciousness and violence, makes him a person capable of creating any environment in his head to continue to survive anything.
You keep referring to yourself in the third person, Bula. Do you have a history of mental health issues or substance abuse?
Must we repeat ourselves? Bula had plenty.
Is that why you killed your wife and daughter?
See, neither
We.
nor Bula killed them.
We?
We, yes. We are happy to meet you.
He knows no other realities other than the one he has created, hardwired mentally.
For total survival.
Before Bula Kearney, all we had was local events, talking to the community.
Now we go to Lindsay in the community.
Thank you, Brock. We're here with Jody Swanson for our local Spring Flower Festival. Jody, tell us about it.
Oh, I'm so excited. We're going to have a wonderful variety
of flowers.
This just in, folks. A Reverend Bula Kearney was arrested today for fraud and possible murder charges of his wife and child. Yeah, suddenly the only anchorman with a beard in small town America, I think. Yeah, you got it, buddy. Was reporting on a huge murder investigation around these parts.
Authorities are escorting Reverend Bula Kearney to incarceration intake processing. But once he was arrested, it was like, wow, we are real reporters now with a real story. It's exciting.
It was very exciting.
Terrible.
Gruesome,
but it's exciting.
As controversy rises around the Bula Kearney fraud and murder case, residents are ready to share their thoughts. Now we go to Lindsay in the community.
Thank you, Brock. With the recent arrest of Reverend Bula Kearney of the New Hope Tent Revival, we've gone into the community to get the opinions of local residents. Hey, sir, can we please get your opinion on the arrest of the Tent Revival preacher?
I think they should let him be, do the job he was ordained to be, and let God take care of him if he's done a bad job. The end.
Sick.
Sorry.
That's news to me.
What? That happened here? I don't even watch the damn news. A Christian preacher, a criminal?
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah. You know what? I get to tell you something. I'm getting tired. Every time a man of God in a community is trying to do some good, and you got to come down on it. I mean, it's you down is the devil.
I think we should get his side of the story. It's probably the wife's fault.
Tent Revival people, are you serious? Is that hillbilly crap still going on down here?
What the hell are you talking about, man? Get away with that bullshit. Get away from all of that shit.
There are no non-criminal Christians. What are you talking about? I'm just not surprised. Like, that sucks. It's brutal, but like, Tent Revival.
Down, yeah, I'm down with down. Down with down. Up with God. Up with God. Face Jesus. Oh, well, yeah, there you go, I think.
You know what? I don't care what you do to him. I don't really have the time for this is nonsense.
As you can see, there are many different opinions and viewpoints concerning the Bula Kearney arrest. And suddenly we were like stars.
Here's a description of the crime scene. Your wife Karen was found with her throat cut. Your daughter Abigail was crushed beneath an overturned bookcase. Medical examination of your wife indicated severe bruising, malnutrition, dehydration, lacerations from bondage as well as shackles, and a setup would look like the torture site. Does that sound accurate?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So you admit your guilt?
No, not at all.
Your blood was found at the scene you left. Quite a lot. Can you explain that?
I can. But please continue.
Your daughter was severely physically and mentally disabled. Apparently since birth. There are no records of marriage. Your daughter's birth, nothing. Your house was condemned. No registered vehicle. Electricity was siphoned off. The neighbors' outdoor outlets. They never noticed since they were crackhead dealers and sellers. You basically don't exist.
Well,
we definitely exist. Unfortunately, Bula does not.
Not anymore.
Man, what the hell is that supposed to mean?
I assume that we can't get to the important stuff until the situation at hand with Bula is explained. So let me explain. Bula and his sweetheart weren't exactly the best of couples. You see, Bula couldn't help but follow in his family's footsteps. His wife, Sheila, get that, Sheila. It's her damn freaking luck. She had the same name as his mother. Maybe it's not so ironic, I don't know. But Bula came across a girl with his mother's name, except that this Sheila wasn't made retarded by beating her. She was born slow,
From God.
The term for Sheila's condition is mentally disabled.
Yes. Of course, we mustn't offend the current strain of
human labeling. In the old days, that kind of human was never allowed to continue.
The slowing of human progress and all that,
What old days? Like the Nazis?
Nazis? Nazis? No. That's not the old days. That was
like yesterday to us.
We're getting skewed from the subject. We'll get to that anyway. Bula and his defective wife were actually quite happy in whatever life you call that, until that fateful night. One evening, Bula went out, and while he was out, a few, let's say, bad men entered the home and kind of had their way with Sheila. Bula came home to find them celebrating with a few after sexual assault cocktails, and well, you won't be finding those gentlemen
anywhere.
And especially not in
any one place
after Bula was done with them. But unfortunately, it was also discovered that Sheila was pregnant from that unfortunate encounter. And I'm sure she would have preferred to have been placed in the same areas as her tormentors, because Bula's rage and heavy drinking, like good old dad, drove him to believe she was damned, as well as their child, and he proceeded to punish them both before Abigail was able to speak a word, hell, before Abigail was even born. Even though Bula himself was a moronic, ill-raised child of incest, oddly enough, he felt tremendous guilt and became just as insanely religious.
Go figure.
It's important to note that individuals with a history of severe trauma, abuse, and neglect are at increased risk for developing mental health issues, including delusional thinking.
He prayed continually that Abigail and that he and his wife would
Be saved by the Almighty.
Religious or spiritual delusions. Developing overbeliefs about divine intervention, spiritual significance, or special connections to higher powers as a way to make sense of his traumatic experiences and find meaning in his life.
And the Lord seemed fit to finally have Beulah crushed under a bookcase, pushed by his own wife, Sheila, while he held a knife on the young man that he had captive. The bookcase fell on his head and drove the blade in his hand into his eye.
We can thank him for that.
Drove it into his brain. Sheila, his wife, then proceeded to slit her own throat. And Abigail probably got the easiest of all of it. She was crushed by the falling bookcase as well. And then Beulah's,
how we would say, will, perhaps you would say soul. Beulah's will was released from his body, and hours entered. Beulah is no more.
Seeking professional help from mental health professionals such as therapists, psychiatrists, is crucial in addressing and managing these symptoms. 1 second.
We are not Beulah, and never were.
Okay, sorry about that. But for Mr. Bula Kearney, that is no longer possible. He is beyond reason.
If you weren't Beulah and never were, how do you know so much about him?
well,
All memories are absorbed when we take a vessel.
Vessel? What are you saying? You're a demon of demons possessing Beulah's body.
no.
We know of no demons.
Or devil, for that matter. Do you mind if I begin with the importance of this interview?
Be my guest.
Process or the practice of development of mind that was used by people for long times is called the meditations or bhavana. Through the meditation, the bond between the wisdom and the man will be developed. Wisdom will help you for the liberation from sufferings, liberation from rebirth, liberation from the death. We need wisdom because through wisdom we realize the reality of this life.
If you weren't Beulah and never were, how do you know so much about him?
Well, all memories are absorbed when we take a vessel.
To even begin to label this as a demonic possession first is very irresponsible. Vocal changes in people who claim to be possessed have many psychological explanations. The Catholic Church will never use these labels without extensive medical, biological, familial, and cultural tests and study. Vocal changes during supposed demon possession can be complex and multifaceted, with factors playing a significant role in shaping individual experiences and behaviors. It is important, first, for mental health professionals to approach these cases with sensitivity and an understanding of the underlying psychological factors at play. All of this must happen before the church would even begin to touch such an issue.
How do you know the locations of multiple bodies in multiple states over multiple decades?
Why haven't you asked us about the boy?
The boy, the healer in your con show?
Yes.
The one you claim was the second coming of Jesus?
Oh, but it is. It's Yeshua's fault. No, wait. We're sorry.
It's your fault. All of your faults. We should explain.
Who are we?
What do you believe in? Let us explain reality to you. Have you ever heard of a man named Thales? Thales of Miletus.
You guys mind if we do this outside? I got out of the hospital with a bad case of food poisoning. I've seen enough
Professor?
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine. What is it?
Just wanted to say welcome back, and we're so happy to see you alive and well.
Now, thanks, Steve. I heard they actually had to resuscitate me. Happened the day after you guys set up this interview. Actually, impeccable timing, guys, but shall we? I appreciate you guys. Let me see the video of the interrogation of Mr. Kearney. It's very interesting. I was confused as to what an arrested Tent Revival preacher had to do with Thales, but I understand now. I'd like to give a little opinion about that after this, but let's get to what you asked about. Thales of Miletus was one of the 7 sages. It's a title given to 7 philosophers, statesmen, lawgivers of 7th, 6th century, renowned for their wisdom, the founding figures of ancient Greece. The ancient biographer Diogenes Laertius attributes the phrase, "Know thyself," which is inscribed on the Temple of Apollo at Delphi. He ascribes "Know thyself" to Thales, but Diogenes was a playwright, so can't really tell what's completely accurate and what he just made up. A lot of history has been written by playwrights because some of the subjects they wrote about never wrote anything. Thales, Socrates, everything from him was Plato, and Plato was a playwright. Jesus, people who wrote about these people but never actually met them. So Thales was pre-Socratic philosopher, mathematician, astronomer. He was one of the first people, like without any equipment or anything, he was said to be the first astronomer to predict the weather. He even predicted a solar eclipse in 585 BC. Kind of the first person ever, at least as far as, Western Greece, to introduce deductive reasoning. So basically, he's the father of scientific thought. One of his most famous contributions was that he thought water was the ark. The fundamental substance of all things.
He thought that everything, this water was the source of everything.
It was a big deal during that time because everybody was thinking that it was a collection of fire, earth, air, and water, which of course it is. I've never really been completely sure as to why water was such a big deal. Maybe it was controversial.
During that time, there were some of us we didn't feel that terrestrial things, anything solid, anything somewhat temporary could be the explanation of the source of all things.
This man, Bula Kearney, was an uneducated, off-the-grid product of incest, abuse, major alcoholism, probably some type of mental deformation. I'm unsure how a man with that background would even know about Thales. Even in our intro to philosophy courses, it might be a mention. Most of the time, Hugo, Socrates, Aristotle, Plato, he's just barely mentioned.
There was a small group of us.
Mr. Kearney began to explain that in 600 BCE, he was a part of a 10-person meditation group in Athens, Greece.
We're in Athens exploring the ancient temples, and we're here to study and practice the pre-Socratic methods of meditation. To those philosophers, meditation was a form of inner stillness, which would lead to healing revelations, divine insights, and higher states of consciousness.
Sessions of meditation would last hours at a time. As meditations continued, it seems members began to feel a strong connection to each other.
We're starting to understand that during meditation, we were joining.
At one particular session, it seemed that the coven felt the presence of one of the members stronger than any of the others.
But we did understand that we felt him. We heard his thoughts. It was like he was a part of us.
Once the meditation had ended, the connection was lost, and that member was discovered to have died during the session.
Once we left the joining of each other, his will left because it was on its own, let's say, and an energy that dispersed into the rest of the world.
The coven theorized that possibly if all members died during a session, that perhaps their collective wills would join and they may be able to continue to exist without flesh.
Perhaps if we all died and our wills joined together, that collectively we would stay intact. We would hold our consciousness. We would still remain without our bodies as a joined will. And time went on and we continued to do our meditation, but it got stronger and stronger. And
while the lives and health of its members began to weaken,
we didn't live long, not like you do these days. So we knew we were all coming to our own end.
All members agreed to ingest a slow-working poison simultaneously and proceed to unite during meditation.
It took hours, and eventually we all died. But we didn't.
according to Mr. Kearney, or what is now named the Collective.
A collective energy, a strength.
The members' wills unified and continued to exist. 9 voices.
9 views.
9 thoughts. Becoming a stronger, single one.
We all began as one. We all emerged out of the same infinite source, right? It's clear that we're all interconnected here, but how does that affect us in a real-world sense? Well, there's actually a research group called the Global Consciousness Project, which was established in 1998 to detect possible evidence of humanity's collective consciousness. That there's more to what we are than just a physical body, that there's more to the mystery of consciousness than this physical brain, and that deep down, deep within, we're all part of a much greater reality than this one physical lifetime.
Over time, all of those thoughts, we can still hear each of our thoughts separately, but they're collective. They're more collective. It's one thought amongst many. It's
So, who's Legion? From the Gospel of Mark? Legion? So, they picked the most famous demon in history. Please, get me his autograph.
He knows no other realities other than the one he has created, hardwired mentally for total survival.
See, we began to find that we could join and enter bodies that had recently died.
He will be very convincing.
And began to travel throughout time, entering different bodies. At first, it was educational. It was quite beautiful.
He believes all he creates.
We can't take over a body that's living. Its will still holds to its body, but once it leaves, if we are there in a quick amount of time, then we could enter.
There is no other existence.
And we could use it. We came to find that whenever we didn't need it anymore, we killed ourselves. Our collective consciousness, our will, continued.
He is beyond reason.
Beyond the thought of a man of his background, even knowing about Thales. But to know about, to even mention, have any clue the idea of meditation and collective consciousness is beyond me. I believe there's more to this than probably has been looked into.
Over time, one becomes bored. We became bored with just education. We saw many things. We've been to many places. We've been through many people. We began to kill indiscriminately. Vagabonds, the sick, people who were useless. We're not anti-human. We see the power of what humans can be. But over time we start to play because we realize with each death, each release of a body, we were never judged, harmed. There is no heaven. There is no hell. There is only a will to live. Life, the universe, is a will to live.
How do you know the locations of multiple bodies in multiple states over multiple decades?
So we've gone through lifetimes. Over this past century, we have committed quite a few crimes. We have taken place in quite a few different vessels. We have killed many people, and each time that we leave that body, there is no judgment waiting.
Perhaps he's just crazy.
We're immortal. And nothing was different until the boy. We felt that entrance. It was different. But it wasn't because of what you think. We were drawn to him. And we had to find him. But now let me tell you why he is and can do what he can do.
Perhaps he's just crazy.
In 1993, a group of scientists set out to study the social effects of mass meditation. Over the course of the study, the rate of violent crime in Washington, D.C. dropped 23%. This study has since been replicated in dozens of other cities across the world with similarly incredible results. And this phenomenon has come to be known as the Maharishi effect, named after Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, who theorized that if a sufficient percentage of a population came together in meditation, it would produce concrete social benefits and increase standards of living for everyone in the population. This Maharishi effect is not surprising in the slightest. Again, it points to the fundamental oneness and unity of all things. It's a simple fact that we don't exist just as individuals that are separate from each other. On a deeper level, we're all waves in the same ocean of life. We're all connected and unified on a consciousness level.
That is the ultimate goal of Buddha's way of teachings, right? The liberation from sufferings, liberation from rebirth, liberation from the death.
I was sick. It was hard to walk because it hurt so much. Most of the time, I stayed in bed. I lost my hair because of the chemo. I wasn't scared anymore, but I didn't want to leave my mom and little brother. But then this magic man grabbed me, and then the next day, everything was better. My hair started growing. I didn't have pain. I feel awesome now.
Wow, that's great. All of this happened at the tent revival?
No, the hospital.
The hospital? I don't understand.
We were in the hospital emergency room one day. And while we were waiting, this young man came bursting into the ER doors like he was scared and scrambling to get out. He fell on the real creepy man that was sitting across from us with burns on his arms. And the man got real mad and shoved the guy into Claire and I, and he grabbed me, and then he ran out of the hospital. I believe that young man, he was the faith healer in the tent revival.
Do you know the whereabouts of Yeshua?
Nah, we assumed he was with you. You see, we kept him in a cage between performances. And now we are in a cage.
He's not with you.
You'll find him. He will come up. He's bound to. Do you want to know why? I believe he is the return of what you call Jesus. Yeshua was his name.
Sampson County WBTV3 breaking news. Gilbert Kearney was found dead of self-inflicted strangulation early this morning in his prison cell. Please be advised the following images are of a graphic nature. Tent Revival preacher Bula Kearney, suspected of fraud, kidnapping, and murder, was found hanging from his jail cell bars early this morning by authorities. There are few witnesses.
I seen it. He was right in front of me. He didn't even try to stop. I didn't even try to stop him. I don't give a shit. Good riddance if you ask me. Crazy son of a bitch.
They said he was smiling.
The whole time too. Just stood there till he shit himself. Defecated everywhere. Smelled like shit.
That man was crazy as hell. I'm showing my face. I don't come it for me.
Gilbert Kearney is dead.
Maybe he'd have shook that out. The man said, I ain't taking no chances.
Ah, man, that man ain't dead. He ain't dead, man. He's coming back. That man is pure evil. Pure evil.
Phones and cameras were never allowed inside Bula Kearney's tent revival. But now, Kearney is dead and the faith healer is still missing. So we found eyewitnesses who may help us identify the young man and answer the question, where is Yeshua?
Yeah, that tent revival.
It was so amazing. I can't believe it. The boy touched everybody. It was a miracle.
I think we went in there one time, didn't we?
Yeah, I remember.
I don't know if it was real or not, but there was a lot of happy people there, and it looked like God was in the air.
So I got in there, and I had my phone with me, and I got I got one shot, but the security guards nailed me, so it didn't come out all that great.
What did he look like?
Yeah, that guy looked a little bit like, I don't know, the guy a millionaire.
It looked like a brown Pakistani guy.
All right, you want to know what the faith healer looks like?
Did you see a Slumdog Millionaire?
Millionaire dog.
Lion?
Millionaire lion?
He looks just like Dev Patel from Slumdog Millionaire.
Faith healer? He looks good.
Using a Middle Eastern guy as Jesus? Fucking brilliant, man.
And let me tell you, I wish I had a little disease. I'd let him put his hands on me.
Sir, could we get a statement?
Yeah, our firm approached Mr. Kearney about legal aid. Hey, how you doing? He just said there'd be no need for lawyers.
What do you think he meant by that?
I don't know. I gotta go.
Well, the thing is, this person was, well, it's kind of an odd character. He just simply said, there will be no need for lawyers. I had to say it again. You're up for murder.
I'm afraid we aren't going to be around much longer. You see, this vessel that you call Bula has gained enough attention.
Bula Kearney, right? Man, that was right as I was passing the bar. So I remember watching that on the news, getting so excited, thinking, man, I don't care what this guy did, guilty or not, this is going to be huge. So I just threw on my sport coat and I headed right out the door down to the courthouse. So when I met up with him, he said, you know what? I don't need a lawyer. And I was like, man, you are charged with murder. Everybody needs a lawyer in a situation like this. But he just said, it's not going to get that far.
There's too many eyes on him, and well, he's locked up. So we'll be moving on soon.
I guess we know now why he didn't need a lawyer.
We will be ending our time with this particular body. It's been wonderful. Thank you so much. You see, we were there. We were there at his crucifixion. It was quite a sight, actually. He caused quite a stir around the area. It was quite interesting. We We understand why the stories became as they became. Yeshua was just a philosopher teaching what he wanted to teach. The ideas of God. God had been explained before by many different people before them. Always a need to find purpose. There's got to be a reason I'm here other than just because. He hasn't returned because it was ordained or prophesied. As our collective will has held us together through the years, so many of you believe in this religion you call Christianity. You believe in these stories, this book. Your collective will, your desire for it to be real, has the strength to create. Your collective will brought him back. It is Yeshua. It is your Jesus. Your collective will has given him abilities.
But then this magic man grabbed me, and then the next day, everything was better.
See, this is what Bula found. This is why Bula took him prisoner. You see, Bula was sitting around in an ER waiting room with a burn on his arm.
And while we were waiting, this young man came bursting into the ER doors like he was scared and scrambling to get out.
You see, he was found passed out in the road. But when he awoke, he freaked. Bula usually didn't go to hospitals. But as he sat there and waited in this ER, a young man came bursting through, scared as shit.
He fell on the real creepy man that was sitting across from us with burns on his arms. And the man got real mad and shoved the guy into Claire and I, and the man with the burn on his arm was Bula Kearney. I'd bet my life on it. He was a vile man. You could just tell.
Where his hand touched, it healed. Bula thought, here it is. Here's my savior. Here's the one who will right all my wrongs, the one that will heal my daughter. He left the hospital. He found Yeshua. He captured him. He imprisoned him in his house, put him in the shackles that he had his wife in previously. He was expecting Yeshua to heal his daughter. Unfortunately, his daughter couldn't be healed because his daughter was born severely deformed because Bula beat the shit out of Sheila while she was pregnant. Yeshua had no idea what Bula was asking him. He doesn't know he can heal because Jesus could not heal. But he can now because your collective will has created the second coming. Your will has given him the powers to heal. Your collective belief has created a Messiah who was never a Messiah. That's the beauty of it all. You created him. You believe he is God. But in all reality, you all are his. Imagine 9 of us have held ourselves together and have held a will together to go through time immortal, going from body to body, never dying. Millions of you believing as one has created a Messiah who can heal. You gave birth to something. All of you together, concentrating, working together, meditating together to join each other, a whole collective, a whole world. What do you think you could create? A whole world collectively joined. What could that kind of will of a collective millions of people, millions of wills collected as one, what could that be? A God. You'll never understand how much power you could collectively have. And the funny thing is, once he is finally found and he starts believing what he is being told and what you have made him, you're gonna kill him again, just like you did before. Except this time, it's gonna be the Christians who crucify Jesus. You have such potential, and you will never see it before the next asteroid hits the planet.
There's an asteroid coming?
There is always another asteroid coming. A cataclysmic event that will reset the planet once again. But because you won't join each other, you will all disappear and the planet will restart once again. Perhaps one day you'll get it right. But not this time around. But we will be here. That's all the information I have to give you. We'll see you some other time. In some other form.
I believe there's more to this than probably has been looked into. It's too bad he's dead. I would very much like to talk to him. That is, of course, unless he was telling the truth, and he is. The collective, as it was said, and he's just out there in another body, just waiting to be discovered or show up in the media. But, I appreciate this, fellas. This was fun. And good luck with your video project. I'm going to go ahead and finish my walk.
Professor, don't you need your cane?
We weren't actually at the hospital for Claire. We were there for me. See, I had emphysema. Well, I did have it. I never told them. I never told the kids. And the day after that man touched me, my sickness, it was gone too. The doctors, they were amazed. Wherever he is, I just hope he's okay. We owe him our lives.
Gonna have to get used to that.
I was one of 3 people that I know of who called the police about Bula Kearney. I'm glad he's gone.